So I'm Kacy Henwood, and she's Megan. I can't say her last name.
Kienapfel.
And we worked at the Scripps Research Institute doing addiction research at the George Lab, which is in San Diego, California.
Okay, so the reason why this research is important is because alcohol abuse is the third highest preventable cause of death in the United States. There's 65% of the U.S. families are affected by drug addiction, and addiction is 4 times more prevalent in the U.S. than cancer. And the costs that you see up here, this is the healthcare cost of all those, and the overall includes like judicial costs, healthcare, accident coverage.
And then before we got to handle the rats, because we handled rats at our lab, we had to learn about the basis of drug addiction. So it's basically a brain disease that has 3 stages. And at the George Lab, we focused on the second stage of withdrawal, and we used animal self-administration, which is basically based on a behaviorist view that drugs are positive reinforcers and that animals choose to take them over and over. And this helps because it's administrative in a lab setting, so they can control all the variables. And this is how they test new medicines for different kinds of drug addiction prevention.
Okay, so these are some of the projects that we worked on before we could handle the rats, and a little bit during the time. So over there is what we used to slice the brain samples before we could mount it, so they'd look like that. And then once the brain tissue samples were mounted and all that, we had to stain them with different chemicals before we could put them into the multi-slide fluorescent microscope. And it would create this type of image where those areas where it's lit up are the different neurons that were activated when the rat was killed.
And we also worked on another project making rat catheters, and we got to watch the surgeries where they put them in, and then they used these for a nicotine research. So this is when we worked with the rats. So basically our job was we had to handle rats when they first got them, so they would get used to humans and not be stressed. And then we ran experiments in the experiment room with the 24 boxes. And we also participated in behavior tests to test the sensitivity of rats while they were in withdrawal.
Okay, so these are the alcohol boxes that we worked with for the self-administration. And that's, up here is where the syringes of ethanol and water would be hooked up. And right there is where the levers that are a better picture is right up here. And they could press 1 lever for alcohol and 1 lever for water. And so they could self-administer. And this is what the program looked like that we worked with.
And then who we worked with, Olivier George was the principal investigator at the lab. And then underneath him was Molly Brennan, and she kind of helped us out with everyday stuff at the lab. And the postdoc we worked with was Adam Kimbrough, and there were 3 other interns there with us. Hector was from Puerto Rico, and he was studying neuroscience. Then there was Estefania LaRosa, and she had just won a grant to be a paid intern at this lab. And then Adam, he was a UCSD student that took this as a class.
So outside of the lab, we did a ton of different activities. One night, we went to a demotion party for our host family with Michelle, and then we also stayed with Michelle, so that's why we did a lot of activities with her. We went to the San Diego County Fair within our first week being there. We also went to the San Diego Zoo with Michelle and Sam. And our host family took us paddleboarding one day. And we also went to Padres game, and then Sam and Kacy went again.
Yeah, we went twice. And then what surprised me the most was I actually turned out to like the rats. I thought they were going to gross me out and I wasn't going to be able to handle it. And also, it's a short 6 weeks, and I learned so much, and it went by very quickly. And then for future interns, just get out of your comfort zone. You're going to be offered a bunch of amazing opportunities, and if you take them, that's how you get the most out of it, and you'll have a great time.
And then what surprised me was like how different a lifestyle in a big city is compared to around here, especially with the driving. And to future interns, I'd say try everything that is offered to you, inside and outside of the lab. You might end up surprising yourself with what you like.
And then we want to give a big thank you to Pinhead, the Scripps Research Institute, the George Lab, and then our wonderful host family, Laura and Tom Fisher.